Lou, we're standing here in front of the Bristell, which has always been a really impressive airplane in the LSA space, but you've got some new things going on, including a share program that's starting to take hold. Tell us about, first of all, that program, and then we'll talk about the airplane a little bit.
Okay, our share program is Bristell Shares, and we're offering it in Long Island, Lancaster, and the Villages. It's $175 a month and $50 per hour. And you're buying a share of the plane, and you get access for 3 weeks exclusively and shared use the rest of the time. Very affordable. And then we have our landing doctor training program, which is comprised of personal limitations checklist, ground proximity awareness training, and defined go-around point. And everybody must earn a Bristell Challenge coin before they can become a shareholder, because we need to be sure people can land well and not damage the plane.
Is it a particularly challenging airplane to land, or are you just making sure that people know what they're doing before you turn them loose?
It's a very easy plane to land, but we get a lot of 70-year-old people interested, and you want to be sure they still have the skills to land safely and smoothly.
What caused you to move into a share program as opposed to looking at individual ownership of the airplane?
Oh, we do mostly individual ownership. We sold 11 planes last year. They were all individual owners. What I didn't want to do was put the plane in flight schools where it gets beat up and people fly 10 hours a year and they're renting your plane. In the share program, you must fly a minimum of 30 hours a year, and you own the plane. You're going to take better care of it. We have better training. We have our Bristell Challenge coin. We screen our pilots, and hopefully we'll have an accident-free operation in the share program versus a typical school program.
Now, when you look at the share program, how does that work with maintenance, annuals, 100-hour inspections, those kinds of things?
The $50 per hour is $30 for fuel and $20 for the maintenance kitty. So that takes care of all the maintenance requirement except for the engine overhaul.
And what are the flight characteristics of the airplane?
Just very docile, great climb. It especially has good climb, better than a lot of the other LSAs I've been a dealer for, because of its low empty weight. It weighs as little as 720 pounds, giving you a 600-pound useful load. And at 8,000 or 9,000 feet, it's still climbing great. I've had this plane to 15,000 feet, and it would have gone higher.
Now, I understand there's also a turbo option that's available, and there have been a couple of those now that have been delivered. What are you finding out about those?
We sold our first 2 turbo Bristells with the 914, which is the 80 horsepower carbureted Rotax engine, turbocharged, which brings the horsepower up to 115. And we're finding those planes climb like 1,200 feet a minute. They just maintain a great climb rate all the way up to altitude. And in cruise, you're limited to 5 minutes at the high power setting. Then you got to bring the power back and let it cool off. When you bring the power back, you're doing 126 knots on 5 gallons an hour, and when you bring the power up, you're doing 140 knots on about 7 gallons an hour.
So you can stay within that LSA category and not have any problems even with the turbo engine?
Yes, because at sea level, it still does 120 knots.
Okay. Well, Lou, thanks very much for taking some time to talk with us. Good luck with your share program, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you around at shows as the next year goes on.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming by.
Aero-TV is brought to you by... Since the early days of powered flight, pilots have struggled with landing in crosswinds. In fact, crosswinds and wind gusts cause more landing accidents than fog, thunderstorms, and icing combined. That's where the Redbird X-Wind SE comes in. By placing pilots in gusty crosswind conditions for extended periods of time, the X-Wind SE gives instructors all the time they need to teach the pilot the proper techniques for landing in crosswind conditions. For more information on Redbird X-Wind SE and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Explore no limits flying in the FAA-certified Sea Ray Amphibious LSA, one of the top 3 best-selling LSAs in the U.S. Progressive Aerodyne Sea Ray comes equipped with a Rotax engine and exhibits extraordinary handling on land, water, and in the air. Check it out at www.searay.com.